Hey hippies, welcome back. It's Courtney Shavante. I'm back with another tray tutorial for you guys, and this one is going to be from a silicone mold, the music player silicone mold from my shop. So I'm super excited to bring this tutorial for you guys. If you're super excited for this tutorial, make sure you do hit that thumbs up for me. Also hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss anything I do put out moving forward. Let's get started. Alright hippies, so to get started, what we're going to do is we're just going to prep our molds and our resin. I made about 15 milliliters of resin, and then I'm just going to pour that directly into the rim. Take your stir stick and kind of push that resin around so that way you can make sure it's touching all surfaces and you pop all those bubbles. What we're going to do next is we're going to take our pre-measured pearl strand and we're just going to place that right into the rim, and then what we're going to do is we're going to push that down to make sure there aren't any bubbles or anything like that. Make sure it's nice into that resin, add a little bit more if necessary to cover and fill the rim, and let that cure. Alright, while that's curing, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut our photo into shape. Every time I get photos printed, I always get two printed just in case I have a little oopsie or anything, because I'd hate to have to run back to the store just to get one photo. Alright, but what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys a little hack here. So the photo has to be cut into a 3.5 inch square. 3.5 inch square. What I did was I went ahead and got a photo printed at Walmart Photo because they have a 4x4 square photo option, and then I just chose a photo making sure that it had a border of a 1/4 inch all around, so that way after I cut that border off I was left with a photo that was 3.5 inches all around. So as you can see here, I just kind of cut each little edge off, and now I have the square that I need. Now what I'm going to do next is go ahead and prep 40 milliliters of resin. I'm going to take out that photo that I pre-cut and everything because I put it up and finished waiting for that to cure. Go ahead and add some resin to that little square portion. You want to try to like kind of even out the layer a bit, but it's okay if it's not completely even. You just want to add a good little bit to that square so that way it creates a nice surface for our photo to lay in, and that way we can make sure it's bubble free as well. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to take some resin and pour it directly on top of the photo, and you want to kind of move that resin all around. You want to cover as much as the front space of that photo as possible, and then place it face down into that square. Press the resin from underneath that photo, starting from the middle, and then push it towards the edge, and then from there you just want to make sure you have it placed centered into where that etched square is onto your mold, and it should fit perfectly. Go ahead and pour your remaining resin into the mold, and you want to create a nice even surface using this resin. So you want to go ahead and pour all 40 milliliters into the mold. What you're going to do next is go ahead and take your foil. This has the song title and the artist name on here, and I'm choosing Altar by Kehlani because I was so moved by that song. For a lot of people who, you know, practice and everything, there's not a lot of songs and everything just doing what she's doing in this song. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. Check the whole album out. I'm a bit biased because I am a Kehlani fan. I absolutely love her music, but this song in particular, it just really does it for me. It really takes me there, and it's a joyful elegy just like she described. She did it perfectly. But yeah, go ahead and pop those bubbles and let this layer cure. Alright, once that's cured, you want to go ahead and prep another 60 milliliters of resin. Once you prep that, you want to go ahead and add some mica powder to a cup, and you want to add half of your resin into that cup. with the mica powder. Go ahead and mix it up really, really well, making sure that all those little lumps and bumps are gone. Add a couple drops of alcohol ink just to make sure that it's nice and opaque. You don't want to change the color of it. You just want to make sure it's opaque and that it's not super see-through. So go ahead and make sure that you mix it up really, really well, really, really well. And then once you have it mixed up, you want to, oh, my bad, I'm adding a little bit more in there because I want to make sure it's nice and halved. Okay. So once you finish mixing that up, you want to go ahead and move it to the side because you're going to be sprinkling some glitter along the lower edge of the mold. This is my One of Those Nights glitter mix. It is a glitter mix that is currently available, but I don't have many left, so make sure you go check that out. After you get your glitter poured along the edge, you want to go ahead and take that colored resin and you want to pour that into the top half of the mold, and then take your clear and pour that into the bottom, starting from the bottom, because you want to kind of cover where that glitter is and everything, so that way you can make sure that it decreases the amount of bubbles that, you know, come up and whatnot. So scrape at that cup, hippies. Make sure you get all that resin out of the cup because you know the drill, no resin left behind. These supplies are expensive and you do not want to waste anything. Take your toothpick and you just kind of want to move the glitter around a bit and kind of drag it up towards where the photo and the name of the song title is and everything. Add a little bit glitter if you need to. I wanted to make sure that the bottom part of this thing had a lot of glitter, but I want to leave a nice clear empty space near where the song title was, kind of showing like an ombre between the glitter and the and this little blue color. Now this is gonna cut out on me, so I'm sorry about that, but just go ahead and make this look interesting and everything and spray some bubbles to pop it, and make sure you let this layer cure. Alright, after waiting 12 hours, everything should be nice and hard, so you want to go ahead and start wiggling this right from your mold. Pull off any excess pieces that you see on the edges or anything like that, and be careful of your fingers because you do not want to cut them. Alright, once we've gotten it from our molds, we want to go ahead and paint the etchings. I'm going to be using a white acrylic paint by Apple Barrel. You can find it on Amazon, and you can find it at any craft store or Walmart or anything like that. You just want to go ahead and take a paintbrush and you want to paint and push that paint into the etchings, and you want to really push it into the etchings to make sure that, you know, any trapped bubbles that maybe get in there pop, so that way it doesn't leave any like little open spaces and everything after your paint starts to dry. So you want those etchings to be nice and vibrant and everything. So take your time with this and make sure you're really pushing it in there, and don't worry about it going off the edge or it not being completely perfect, just because we are going to be getting in here to clean it up in the very next step. Alright, so as promised, this is where we go ahead and do our cleanup. We're going to take a very damp rag, a slightly damp rag, because you don't want it to leave a trail of moisture. When you're wiping, if it's leaving a trail, you've put too much water onto the rag. Spray a little bit of alcohol directly onto the paint, and then from there you should be able to wipe this off with ease. If any of the excess paint, if any of the paint that you need inside the etching decides to come up inside those larger areas, no biggie, just go ahead and go back in with the acrylic paint and then let that dry completely before we go on to our next step, where we begin to dome everything. Alright, so to dome, what we're going to do is I took maybe about, let's see, we probably have about 25 milliliters of resin in this cup here, and I'm just going to focus on the etchings first and making sure that I push the resin into the etchings where that dried paint is, just to decrease the amount of bubbles that are forming, especially in the larger etched areas. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pour it over and take my heat gun and move that resin all around, popping bubbles and creating a nice thin and even surface all across this tray, because this is going to be our final layer. We want to make sure that it is as perfect as possible. So go ahead and start scraping at that cup, get the remaining of that resin out, take that stir stick and drag it all along the edges and the corners, making sure the resin is touching every single spot. Then after that, we're just going to allow this to cure completely, probably about 24 hours or so we can make sure no damage comes to it. Ta-da! Here is our finished project, hippies. I'm going to show you the side right quick first so I can show you these pearls and just the side view. You see how the glitter looks sparkling right there? This is where the pearls meet and everything, but from the top you can't even tell it dips like that. But yes, I really love like this. Yes, like look at Kehlani over here with her new album and whatnot. I am so in love with this album. I'm so in love with this piece. I was so in love and moved by this song, I had to come and make this. Like, once I heard this song, I knew for a fact that this is going to be the song that I use to debut this mold that I created for you guys, which is available in my Etsy shop and on craftingwithcs.com. So make sure you do check that out so that way, you know, you can get everything you need to make this. But I am really feeling this project. Like, I love this clear background. You see my fingers and the behind the tray and everything. I love the little angel numbers that pop up on here for you. I love how this holographic foil looks on here. It's so beautiful, and these etchings are so sharp and nice. If you like this tray as much as I do, make sure you leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment and everything. You know I love hearing from you guys. You know I love hearing all of your feedback and answering all of your questions, and I appreciate your support so much. I really cannot even put it into words. You guys have made this channel grow and blow up in ways that I didn't even realize I could do. So thank you for that. But until next time, hippies, XOXO. Mwah. Bye now.